Hello?
Hello.
Hi, sorry to let you wait. I was in a scrim block that was scheduled on super short notice for some reason, and I could not say a no to that. I was baited. How are you?
I'm doing well.
We haven't talked in a while. Can you give me the rundown?
Um, I think I got better, and I've been playing a lot,
Hmm.
and I've been having fun.
That's all I really need to hear. Thank you very much. Finally some positivity in this day. Feels good. Okay, good. So by now you should already know the drill. I just want to go over a few things um because I'm actually surprised because we had a session back then, but I was reading through your forum and I just wanted to try and understand some things in there a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit better. Um, Let me quickly get the information you gave. Okay, yes. So in the last session that we had, uh, I think I told you that your hero pool was kind of a mess. Do you remember that?
yeah. Still a
So
mess, isn't it?
why have you not changed it?
Um,
Your goal is to be comfortably in the top 500 and pro viable.
yeah.
That's not going to happen with that hero pool.
All right.
Give me a single player that you think, okay, in contenders in Overwatch League, a single pro player who has a hero pool that is even remotely comparable to Doomfist, Sombra, Genji, Hanzo, Ana, Brig, Diva, Zarya, Widowmaker, and Tracer. Just
All right.
one
Well,
player.
the other like the non DPS characters were just
Mm-hmm.
because um like I needed to play not DPS sometimes in order to like actually win games and
Even if we remove those characters, that's still Doomfist, Sombra, Genji, Hanzo, Widow, Tracer. That's a very messed up hero pool. Even some of the Koreans in Overwatch League could not maintain that sort of hero pool.
all right.
Like, not at all. Um, so since you do want to be pro viable, you need to make a choice. You need to actually choose a role. I'm gonna assume that you're, a DPS main mostly. Um, so the question is, projectile dash flex DPS or hit skin DPS. And I'm gonna assume that you're gonna choose flex DPS, right?
Probably. Yeah.
So projectile, yes. That already means that Tracer and Widowmaker need to go out of your hero pool.
All right.
Um, Genji is fine, Hanzo is fine, Doomfist is fine. If you do want to be pro viable, then my personal recommendation for your hero pool would be Genji, Hanzo, Doomfist, so what you have right now, and then adding Pharah and Junkrat to that.
All right.
That's the if you that's a hero pool that you can give to a pro team and they would be like, okay, that's the kind of player we're looking for. But if you go to a pro team and you tell them, oh yeah, I can play Doomfist, Sombra, Genji, Widow, Hanzo, Tracer, that's kind of messed up, and they're gonna look for someone that's a bit more specialized at first. Um, if you were already at a high level, right? Let's say you do focus on those five projectile characters I just mentioned, and you manage to get to a very, very high rating, and you manage to get on a team, etc. Then you can start thinking about expanding into other roles to make yourself more attractive. But you kind of have the steps in the wrong order. First, you master one role, you go pro in that role, and then you can start expanding to make yourself more attractive.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Good, good. Okay, because that already should make a pretty big difference. That's just not. It's such a mess of Europe, man. You mentioned that you watch your own VODs. When was the last time you reviewed a VOD?
3 days ago.
Um, did you take notes?
Yeah.
Can you send them to me?
Mm-hmm.
You got it?
Yep, I'm just downloading it as a PDF.
Oh, you can. Oh, okay. You can just send that to me. I just want to quickly have a look at it to see how you do it, just to make sure that there's like it's very hard to do something wrong when you take notes. It's still just something good to kind of make sure. Also, by the way, I do have another session today, but it's this evening, which means that you don't have to worry. Like, there's no time pressure or anything. We can go a bit into overtime and take it a bit
Sounds good.
slower. Okay, let me open that.
I was playing Diva second round,
Uh-huh.
because we had.
How many reviews like this do you do?
I try to do 2 a week,
Mm-hmm.
um, like or like almost a week, because you told me to like
Mm-hmm.
wait 3 or 4 days and then
Yep.
review it,
Okay.
and then I try to do a review and then try and get a VOD um, for my next review right after finishing it. So
Okay. No, these notes are completely fine. Which pretty much confirms to me that you're doing everything right, except your hero pool.
okay,
You're putting in the hours. You mentioned you put in 35 hours a week. I do assume that's competitive,
yeah,
right? Stupid question. Okay, good. You do VOD reviews properly. You do them regularly. You do take notes. Your notes seem to be good. Or not seem to be. They are good. So the only thing that's really remaining is the fact that your hero pool is just way spread out. Um, Now next, under questions, the first question you noted down was: Is there a more effective way to grind mechanical skill other than playing the game? Um, which implies that you aren't confident in your mechanical skill. Is that correct?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's like it's a complicated um, sort of topic, I guess. I don't know, or just a dumb one. But there's been a lot of instances where I just don't feel confident in
Uh-huh.
doing something that I think I should be doing, and
What do you
that
think that
leads
is?
me to, well, like taking 1v1s especially, um,
Mm-hmm.
like considering what I'm trying to play a lot, like on Genji or Hanzo.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Um,
first of all, your hero pool does play a pretty big part in your mechanics being a little shaky.
okay.
Maintaining both, like the way you play or the way you have to aim with Widowmaker is completely different from the way you have to aim with Tracer, which is completely different from the way you have to aim Genji, which is completely different from the way you have to aim Hanzo. Like it's very all over the place, right? Um, so sticking to only projectile for now, that is already going to help a lot. Um, Second, I asked you if you warm up, and you said no.
Yeah, I tend to just, unless I
Don't you
haven't played
think?
in a couple days, then I tend to just
Don't you
do it.
think that warm up might be beneficial?
Probably is.
I
Probably
mean,
is. I
why?
just haven't done it.
I mean, have you never seen one of those streams where Effect just warms up for like 3 hours?
I don't. I don't really watch streams.
Ooh, that's something you should do. Watching your own VODs is good. The thing is, the higher you get in terms of skill. Okay, so when someone is at a relatively low rank, which I deem pretty much everything below masters,
Hmm.
when you're at that level, you get a lot of value out of reviewing your own VODs, whereas you get very little value out of watching pro VODs. The reason being that pro VODs are so different from your own gameplay, and you do not possess the game knowledge yet in order to tell the differences. Right? So watching a pro VOD is kind of like giving a sixth grader a college paper. He just won't have any idea what's going on. He won't be able to learn from it. Right? But
Hmm.
if you give someone in college a college paper, he's going to be able to understand that. And the work in that college paper is going to be much, much more relatable to the work that he, as a college student, has to do. Right? So it's the same thing with VODs. A high level VOD for a low ranked player just isn't going to be that relatable because the issues that they face, the way that the game is played there is different from the way it's played at a lower level, and they don't really have the game knowledge to understand the VOD anyways. But once you get into the higher rating territory, and you're barely in that territory, you're kind of barely getting into masters, but I think it's still something you need to think about. You need to not just watch your own VODs. Now you can start watching higher level VODs as well, not so much to, I guess, look for mistakes or anything, and not even to copy their playstyle. It's just to understand how other players think, because they've been through the same shit that you've been. They've been spending hours and hours and hours grinding and asking themselves questions and fixing mistakes. That by watching their VODs, you can extract all of that information. You can figure out their decision making, their thought process, and compare that to what you did and just gain a load of information and perspective for yourself in the end. So that's something that I would definitely look into. Again, when you have a projectile hero pool, there are plenty of projectile streamers that you can watch and just look at what they do. Okay.
Okay. Any that you
Um,
would recommend?
um, Siegel is good. Mangachu is good, although I'm kind of biased towards him. Actually, let me just send you something real quick.
Okay.
Have I ever sent you Streamhive?
Oh, what?
Streamhive. Have I ever sent that to
No.
you? Okay. I'm gonna send you a link to it. It's a very, very useful website and much more useful than me just doing like giving you individual names. It's image recognition, pretty much. It goes through all of the Twitch streams and it just checks what characters they're playing by looking in the bottom left. So what you can do if you go on the website is you can just choose what characters you want to watch. Let's say you want to practice your Genji and your, I don't know, dude, what's the other character, like Farah or something. I'm blind. Where's Farah? There she is. Um, and then you're just gonna filter it by top 500. Right now, there's only one top 500 projectile player online, so it's kind of shit. But the more you kind of filter, uh, the easier it's gonna be to find good streams. And you don't really need like big brand names, I guess. Like it doesn't matter if you don't get an Overwatch League player. If someone is in top 500, you can learn something from him. Arguably, if someone is in GM, you can probably learn something from him. Below GM, it's probably not as worth it anymore. But I would just, under filter by ranks, just filter by GM and top 500 and look if any projectile players are online. Okay?
All right.
And if not, usually they're online during the evening. Right now, it's kind of early in America, so you probably need to wait a bit more. Um, okay, yeah. So watching streamers is a good idea for you. Also regarding the warm up, you do need to warm up. And I guess with this, I can also just answer kind of the first question a little more in depth. You specifically asked, is there a more effective way to grind mechanical skill other than playing the game?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is no, there is not. There are some tools that try to, but it's impossible. If you want to get better at aiming in Overwatch, you have to learn how to aim in Overwatch. By far, the fastest way to just improve your raw mechanics is free for all deathmatch.
Okay.
So, and that's also what you should be using as warm up. So, what I would do if I were you, just try to play 2 rounds of deathmatch every day before you go into comp. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, is there anything I can do to get better, faster, practice more efficiently? I already answered that. Make your hero pool smaller and don't hesitate watching streamers. Okay, do you have any questions that you didn't put into the form that you want to go over?
Don't believe so.
Okay, then let me send you the link to the VOD. There we go. You hopefully still know how Visor works.
Yes.
Okay, very nice. While you're doing that, why did you choose this VOD in particular? Is there a reason?
Um. So I hadn't played in a couple of days because
Mm-hmm.
school stuff, which is
Mm-hmm.
pretty unusual. So I had a long play session, and like over 2 days, I played like 20 hours or something, and I was just not feeling any of those games. And then
Okay.
I play
Okay,
I
listen.
played this one,
Listen, listen,
and
listen, listen. Okay. I'm gonna role play as a doctor a little bit. Okay, if you go to the doctor because you're sick, and he gives you medication, okay, and he tells you, hey, you need to take, one pill, morning, afternoon, and evening every single day. You can't just be like, hey, doc, by the way, I went on vacation for a week and I forgot my pills at home. So when I came back, I just took like 24 pills at once, to make up for it.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
not how it works, right?
yeah.
And that analogy one-to-one perfectly translates into Overwatch. Okay, you can't just take 3 days off and then be like, oh, I'm just gonna play 20 hours in a row. That's such a bad idea. If you can't play for a couple days, just continue with your schedule as normal. Okay, which again is something a doctor would tell you. Do not try to compensate for it or anything. You just have to take the consequences of taking a break. That said, I do not know how often this sort of stuff happens, but the absolute killer of mechanical skill is taking an off day.
Okay. Off days. All right.
If you take an off day, that shit hurts. Like really, really bad. Pro players, like they say that they have off days, but what off days really mean is just that they don't have to show up to scrims. That does not mean that they don't have to, maintain their aim. Okay? Every single day, professional players need to play the game in some way, shape, or form in order to maintain their mechanics. If they skip a day, they're gonna feel that shit for weeks. It is very, very, very bad. Which again goes back into you mentioning that you weren't feeling very confident in your mechanics. If you ever do take an off day, as I mentioned, it's going to be a while until you can kind of catch your rhythm again. You don't really want to go a single day without putting at least an hour into the game. It doesn't have to be competitive. You can also just play deathmatch for an hour if you don't feel like playing competitive, just to maintain your aim. Okay?
All right.
Okay, good. Now that hopefully all of the aiming stuff is out of the way, we can actually get into the VOD.
Anyway.
Is the VOD working for you?
Yep.
You're gonna run off
Okay,
the map.
But I played Genji.
But really,
this
in
time,
reality, you're
and
gonna
I
go up.
wanted a Genji VOD
You're gonna go to that
because,
fucking bridge.
Mhm.
I think that's what it's called.
I don't know. That's
The one
No,
that's
fine, you
on
can
the
play.
I've played
bridge.
Hero, and I want to get back.
And you go
That
over the
is
corner,
completely fine.
and
The
you
guy
get a
you're queuing with,
big
who's
amount of
that?
ult surge, and then
This
you dash through all of them
friend
and
of
win.
mine.
Is he like on a team with you or something?
I'm
Don't.
helping the team at our school this year, and he's on the team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so he is one of you. So by helping, do you mean you play for them or you coach them?
Like I sub in when they need
Okay,
it, and
okay,
I
okay,
also coach them. So
okay, okay.
yeah.
That could be super awkward. Player coaching is not a good idea generally. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna skip ahead a little. In your own eyes, what do you think went wrong in this game?
I probably wasn't paying enough attention to the macro game, like what was happening around me.
So situational awareness.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that. Yeah.
For this particular team comp, what do you think is the macro game? What do you think is the win condition? How should you play this? Any idea?
No.
Okay. First of all, what is this team comp missing?
An off tank.
An off tank. What are the consequences of not having an off tank?
Lower damage output. Not as
No.
much peel for your support.
How does having a soldier over a diva lower your damage output? It's the opposite. You're running triple DPS. Your damage output is going to be higher than if you only had 2 DPS.
Okay.
So what are the consequences of not having an off tank? Why do teams like
Less
running
peel.
diva?
And
Yes. Overall,
when
it's
you-
just less.
when you dive, your main tank gets focused harder.
Yes. Overall, the main issue is that if you don't have an off tank, it's going to be much, much more difficult for your main tank to create space. Okay. Which is problematic because damage dealers need space, which is why whenever you see a triple DPS comp being run, it's mostly flankers as the DPS. So one triple DPS comp could be Sombra, Tracer, Pharah, for example, because none of those characters need any space. right? So in that case, it's fine to drop the off tank because you're not going to need, to create too much space. You're going to be fine. With this comp, however, you do need space. Genji's a character that needs space. Soldier's a character that needs space. So your team comp right from the get-go is kind of scuffed. That means that you can't really go for super aggressive plays because you're just not going to have the support to do that. So how do you need to play this instead in order to get the most out of the situation?
I want to say killing their supports so they have a harder time maintaining.
You're not going to be able to kill their supports without space.
Help our Winston then.
Okay, look. Okay, let me explain space. Okay, if this were like a top-down perspective, let's say that the enemy supports are there. Okay, the enemy tank is over here, and your tank is, I don't know, he's chilling here, and you're just chilling next, and you want to dive the supports. That's not going to happen because all of this space, like this is a very, very large distance that you have to get. So ideally with dive comp, what you want to do is you want your tank to create space by pushing the enemy tank back. And that way this box is starting to grow smaller and smaller and smaller. Okay. And if the box grows smaller, that means that the dive distance is going to be much, much smaller as well, compared if you had to dive from all the way back. And the shorter the dive distance, the easier the dive is going to be, because it's going to be less predictable, it's going to be easier to disengage, and it's going to be easier for your teammates to follow up on it, right? Mm-hmm. But since you won't have any space, if you dive the supports, you're going to be so ridiculously split from the rest of your team, you're going to have a lot of trouble. Especially if you're running Zenyatta, you're going to get out of his line of sight all of the time. You won't be able to discord orb your targets, etc., etc., etc. So your best bet in this game is going to be realizing you have an Ana as a pre-made, Nano Blade, pretty much throughout the entire round. That's really the only thing that you consistently do. Other than that, all you can do is try to help your Winston win the tank trade so that you guys don't lose too much space. So ideally, your Zen wants to discard up the Winston. You spam the Winston to farm up your Blade as quickly as possible. And trust me, farming Blade on a discarded Winston is very, very fast. And then you can go in with Blade. Okay?
Okay.
What you don't want to do is consistently try to dive the back line and die over and over again. So I hope that doesn't happen.
We'll see how this first bit goes.
Okay. Running out of that window before your Winston, by the way, is also very risky.
Come back. Okay,
why? Why did you walk in front of your Winston?
Stone, dude.
I think I wanted to get my reflect in front of the bubble.
But why?
No good reason.
Deflect is not an ability that you like. It's not like an Ana nade where you just want to throw it into the enemy team ASAP. It's really an ability that you want to kind of keep till you actually need it. Right here, you didn't need to use it at all, and you just died right at the start.
I saw exactly what happened.
And that's very, very problematic. So yes, right there, you shouldn't really run in front of your Winston.
It is, but like sometimes it works, and then you roll. You just gotta.
Okay, this angle is. Do you see how much downtime you have?
The enemy team to just, like,
these are the kind of plays, so it works out in this case because I don't know whether running Torb is kind of weird. Or actually, Torb Brissa is fine. I just don't know why the Torb is up there on his own instead of being with this Orisa. As I mentioned earlier, your main priority should be farming ult charge. Punishing the Torb is completely fine here, but you shouldn't expect the Torb to be making this mistake here. If the Torb wasn't there, you would just spend a lot of time doing like nothing, and that's problematic because you want to farm your Blade.
Your cockiness level needs to be insane for the enemy.
But killing the Torb is fine. That's okay.
Winston is behind.
Do you see how you're flanking again?
Alright, I'm going in.
I'm going for the supports.
Big anti. Dash through all of them. Dash through Lucio.
It's a nice anti-nade.
Dash through Lucio. Dash through Ryan. Fuck his ass.
I think this VOD is a perfect example of the enemy team being kind of shit, and you're punishing it, but your play necessarily isn't super optimal. If this So for one, whenever you're playing against a team comp that has a Lucio, you need to be very, very careful about diving the enemy support. Lucio can completely nullify your dive, and he can kite you for like 30 seconds, which means that the rest of their backline can just continue on healing, and you're going to be wasting your time. So if the enemy has a Lucio, you already need to think twice about whether you're going to dive them. Secondly, you just got lucky that she hit her nade here, and that the Reinhardt didn't turn around and notice you.
Going in.
Arguably, the enemy team shouldn't really hold there, anyways. So yeah, this fight was mostly just her landing a really, really, really good nade.
Hell yeah, dude! Look at that! I'm calling out plays for you in the game. Wow.
Are you the one talking so much in this fight?
No, that's the honor.
Okay, I was about to say, like, the voice is very squeaky. Okay, well, climbing is also difficult. Okay, so that's fine. Diving Torb, he's out of position. This Torb is kind of feeding super hard. But yes, so whenever you're playing with a super aggressive comp like this, like triple DPS, you mostly want to just... Okay, you don't want to stretch out the fights too long. You want to play, like, really aggressive as soon as you get an opportunity. And again, by aggressive, I do not mean flanking. Okay, aggressive just means that you're going to kind of lower the threshold of whether a mistake is punishable or not. Okay. So in a normal dive comp, you would wait until like your Winston dives in or something. Whereas with this kind of triple DPS, since it's a lot more aggressive, if a mistake, even if a mistake is very small, you might still want to go for that, even though you wouldn't go for it in a regular dive comp, where you would instead just wait for the Winston. Infrasight is very helpful. But yeah, again, you're like committing a lot to flanks, and that's problematic. You really, 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 really shouldn't be flanking this hard. Okay. Since you have a soldier and you have a widow and you don't have a diva, how is the enemy Winston going to play?
He's gonna, I don't know, probably just dive one of them.
Yes, he's probably going to dive them because it's DPS. He can just dive them, completely shut them down, right? That's very, very predictable. Okay,
So
and it doesn't even have to be a Winston. I don't even think they're running a Winston right now.
No, they're
But
running Reinhog.
they're running Reinhog, but someone is going to try to punish your backline. That's why, if we go back a little, your Ana ended up dying. Okay. You need to focus on looking at enemies that overextend and then punish them instead. Your team is not going to have space, which means that if you go for a flank like this, you're not going to have any follow-up. The soldier isn't going to rocket jump down here to dive the Tor with you. The Widow isn't going to grapple shot right in front of him. None of your supports are going to do that either. The only real support that you're going to get is the Winston, and that's not really that reliable. If you had a full dive comp, if you had like a Tracer and a Diva, then that's 3 times as many people that can follow up on your dives. So going for plays like this is fine. But right now, nobody can really help you with that. So you're really just going for a solo play. And it is much easier for the enemy team to turn around and to collapse on you than it is for your teammates to follow up on your plays. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm lucky.
How much Ultra does your Ana have?
I should be waiting to
That's
help out
actually
whoever
a large play.
gets doped
Yes,
by
you
the
just
Winston.
exactly. You just chill with your Winston. You focus on farming Blade, and as soon as an enemy makes a mistake, you go and dive them.
Okay.
But as I mentioned earlier, you do not go for flanks.
This Roadhog's just letting me shoot him. I really want to nano boost.
Okay. Look what your Ana just said. This Roadhog's just letting me shoot him. That's literally what you want. If the enemy Roadhog is feeding, you guys are gonna get ultimates super fast. Also, it's a little bit unfortunate that he decided to nano boost the Winston, even though you have Blade.
Realizes that we have Blade out.
He was in my.
Okay, yeah, so if you're a pre-made, you should communicate that a bit clearer. Also, this dash onto the Doomfist, was it really necessary?
Probably not, no.
It's just an unnecessary risk, especially if you already have Blade. If you would have died there, you would have just staggered even harder.
Blade! Fuck me!
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah.
That's the game
Okay,
winning
so that's good, punishing the Doomfist. See, that's what I mean, okay? They have a Doomfist. Doomfist wants to dive your backline because you don't really have a solid front line. If there's no Diva to peel, they're gonna continuously dive your backline. And that's when you can punish them. Because you guys have so much damage that if anyone decides to dive your backline, they're just gonna get melted.
Can't heal whoever's
Okay,
on
now you're
top.
going on a weird
Soldier.
flank again. Why did you go down there just to wall climb up? Why didn't you just go
I
over
wanted
the
to grab
top?
Mini.
Winning ultimate forehead.
There is a healing field though.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know if it was gonna expire or not.
Okay, even then, you only missed 50 HP.
Can't
You
heal whoever's
probably
on
would have
top.
survived.
Soldier.
We're saying because this might be something you could have prevented again.
Okay.
This comp is all about baiting the enemies into doing something stupid and then punishing them for it. But instead of doing that, you're just kind of getting baited yourself.
Oh, I killed the.
Like right there. You see that? This is masters. Okay?
Oh,
And this Lucio literally just shows up in front of you.
Yeah.
And you just get a free kill.
I killed the. Okay.
Right, you're overcomplicating this way toward you're having this weird carry syndrome.
Reinhardt. Kill the Reinhardt.
And right now what are you doing here? Why aren't you
Kill the
doing anything?
Reinhardt.
Waiting
Kill the
for
Reinhardt.
our team to do something.
No, you shouldn't wait for your team to do something. You need to wait for the enemy team to do something and bait them. A Genji that's just chilling here isn't going to, you're not doing anything, pretty much. You can see that, for example, your teammates are down there. You could go and join them, see who they're shooting, try to help them. Okay, this Winston is low HP, has the yellow chevron, so someone is probably down there. But again, instead you decide to go for, okay, your soldiers there, kind of. But this is still mostly a solo play.
Where are you? Come here.
Okay.
Come here.
And it's kind of a mystery that you didn't die there. Like, that was super, super clutch. But do you see where this Doomfist came from?
Yeah, he was the one down.
He was the one down there fighting the Winston.
Yeah.
And he probably felt really comfortable fighting a Winston and a support, because his new passive is kind of broken. So you surprising him could have been very good there. But yes, Roderick is... it's still the same passive, it's just ridiculously strong. They buffed it. I think that was a while back, actually. A couple of weeks. But it's ridiculous. The new Doomfist passive is insane.
Oh, the Mercy's asleep. Eddie, fucking eat her
Don't, please. Why are you waiting so long? Okay, you got her. I
'Cause
think this is what
didn't
you
know
meant
she
with
was-
confidence.
Like, I was afraid if I dashed that the Rhine was just gonna 180 charge me, because that's happened a lot.
You're afraid of the Rhine 180 charging you.
Yes.
You do see how ridiculous that sounds.
Well, it sounds ridiculous, but it's happened to me like too many times.
That's what you want. If he actually does, that's stupid if he does it. But if he actually does it, that's what you want. That's literally like a Reinhardt just charging in this direction is literally just giving up space for free. Like, if you can get him to charge away from your team instead of towards your team, you're doing it correct.
Okay. Even if I get pinned, though?
If you get pinned after dashing through there, that's your fault. Like, that's a very easy thing to dodge.
Alright.
Like, by the time he turned around and the charge up, like I don't know what you like, the startup animation of his charge is over, that's more than enough time.
It doesn't have to.
You got hooked. You're actually. Oh wait, you're live.
Very aggressive. Okay. Again, you want to punish people who make mistakes. Do these people look like they really made that huge of a mistake? Do they look super split or anti-nated or slept? Do they look like they're overextending right now? No,
I mean,
right? So they haven't really made a mistake. On the other hand, you're pushing cart. So right now, you shouldn't be trying to punish them for a mistake they haven't even done. Okay? Again, you need to chill with your team and you need to play patient. Farming Blade, because again, you end up dying. This is time where if the enemy team makes a mistake now, you can punish it. You also can't farm up your Blade, which, as I mentioned earlier, with this sort of team comp, is your #1 priority. Getting your Blade as quickly as possible.
No, you're not.
okay.
I was gonna heal you, and then I was like, nah, he's fucking dead.
I don't even think your Zen
weren't.
had like you were in no one's sideline. Like your entire team, if you think about it, like your entire team was over here, and you were like around that corner somewhere.
Yeah.
Like that's way too deep. If anything, you were overextending actually.
I was like, nah, he's fucking dead, because Roadhog, and then you weren't.
But yes, this is like a hard
So we
reset.
lost the fight
Now this
anyway,
is very
but, you
problematic
know,
because that second point really, really needs to be snowballed. It is super hard to take that
you're
second
literally
point if you
saying
can't
that
snowball
about
it.
every single game. Like, just pick one.
What are you waiting for? You're Genji. Why are you just looking?
You're literally saying that about every single game. Like, just pick one.
Why didn't you dash? Don't you think it might be a little bit easier to land projectiles if you're a bit closer?
Probably, yeah.
This is a mistake. This soldier is cocky, thinking, "Hey, I'm cocky soldier. I can 1v1 this soldier." So you need to go there, and you need to kill him before your soldier. Like literally, this play right here. Okay, you dashing towards him. Why couldn't you have done this like 2 seconds earlier?
Because in my mind, I was thinking I needed to get the dash damage on him.
No, you don't. Look how low HP is. And you already have your soldier, right? It's not like you're the only one dealing damage. And he already, if you see it, he already dropped his biotic field. So it's not like he's gonna have sustain for much, much longer either. So yes, you really, really should have just committed there a lot quicker. Like this, and then you don't even get him. Like that right there, that was a pretty hard feed.
Yeah.
And then you I mean, yeah, okay, no, that was just bad, actually, come to think of it. And you wouldn't have even gotten into that situation if the soldier would have just died.
Fuck you, you're actually so garbage.
Like, now your teammates have... Who is saying this? Did your pre-mate just flame people?
No, he just says that every time someone kills him. He's not...
Do you think that's good, though?
I mean, I can tell him to stop.
Oh, you're winning.
You probably should.
Okay.
Like, that's just not a good atmosphere. Like, even if he says it jokingly, it kind of starts affecting you after a while. Like, it's always best to play with kind of positive players, because that atmosphere starts to taint on you, if you know what I mean. It's like if you only play with people like Seagull and Emong and Mickey, like, that's gonna give you a much better mindset than playing with a bunch of Swedes who are super toxic. Do you see how much downtime you have again? Just not doing anything? Because again, you're trying way too hard to carry. You're like trying to go for flanks and being behind them and all of that stuff. This is not really how you play Genji at high levels. That's why you need to watch streams. Honestly, you wouldn't be playing this way if you were watching streams. Like, pro Genjis very, very rarely like actually flank. Like, sometimes they do when they want to set up a blade or a dive or something. But in most situations, they just go in from the front, following their Winston. You could use this time to at least farm ult charge. Why aren't you doing anything?
I'm just scared if I peek, I'm gonna get picked.
That's very cautious, but I think that's a little too much. You can still peek. Worst case, you have deflect.
Okay.
Like, at least farm some ult charge. Like, there's not a lot of time left in this game, so you do kind of want to get your ultimate. Okay, you have one more shot at this.
Get their ass, monkey.
Okay. There's still people on high ground. Your monkey just dove high ground. You should probably follow up on him. Okay. The best position in this second point is on top of the dropship, which means that if the enemy team has control of the dropship, one of your highest priorities is going to be taking that away from them. That's what your Winston is trying to do right here. He's trying to take away the dropship for them, but you're not really helping him. Like, what are you doing? You're just hiding behind card, trying to push it. Again, what are you doing?
They're all anti.
You just didn't do anything for like how many seconds? Okay, let's just see.
It's like
1,
10 seconds.
2, 3, 4, 5,
Kind of like
6,
cheating on us.
7, 8, 9.
and he
Yeah,
died.
around 10 seconds. Yeah. Just of doing nothing. 10 seconds in terms of
Dude,
Overwatch
end
is
of
like
this
an
room,
eternity.
hello? Fucking dead.
And you use those 10 seconds doing nothing. I mean, to look at it positively, in your forum, you mentioned that one of your issues was a lack of confidence.
Mhm.
I do actually think that's true. Because you're like really, really scared. Okay, here's what you're doing. Let me explain it this way. You are playing very aggressively, and then you die. So you interpret that as, oh shit, I was playing too aggressively. I need to play the objective and play a little bit safer. But the problem wasn't actually that you were playing aggressively. The problem was just that you weren't doing aggressively the right way. If you know what I mean.
Okay.
So you need to keep playing aggressive. You just need to stop with this kind of solo carry mentality. Okay. If one of your teammates is fighting someone else, you want to go there and you want to help them. But you don't want to go behind the enemy team and try to solo kill the Mercy. Okay?
Okay.
It's the
So yes.
Anything.
I think that's like by far the main issue so
Like,
far.
Team thing muted. I have so it open. I have map.
Do you have any questions so
People, like,
far?
don't have a mic.
No,
So they
this
like
is
sit down and they type a
Okay.
paragraph.
helpful.
Oh, okay.
I think those are fun.
Let me skip a bit more. Dun.
All right. So here,
Mhm.
They play back here. Play like all the way
Like,
back here.
is it maybe it's something about this map, but I just don't know where
No,
to
fine,
stand to
fucking do what you
actually
want.
be useful in
You're the
farming my
safe
ult charge
flank.
at the beginning.
Where you
because-
stand, it doesn't really. It always depends on where your team is, anyways.
Okay.
With Genji,
Thank
at
you,
least.
Genji. I'm the
With characters
retarded
like
grandma.
Soldier or Widowmaker, yes, you do need to know the map. With a character like
Genji,
Genji,
this
it's
is
not
red
as
team Genji,
important.
okay?
All right.
This
Too
is a
much strategy
very
works better.
risky position. Again, see, this is what I mean. This is not aggressive. This is just like over aggressive. Again. And the thing is, if you end up dying here, then you're going to be less confident moving forward. Because you're going to be like, oh, I tried making a play, but it didn't work out. So I was being overconfident. So I need to tone it down. Although that's not true. This play is just like, it's just not a good play. It doesn't have anything to do with confidence. Even if you had like perfect execution here, this play is just very, very risky. Okay.
I don't. Yeah. I'm healing you. Shut up. Now you're out of my LOS.
Okay. That doesn't have anything to do with like aim or mechanics or anything.
Oh,
And it doesn't have anything to do with being like aggressive. That was just not a good play.
Okay.
Sort of. I mean, hypothetically, that's what you're made to do. In practice, maybe not. I'm just gonna yeet
Okay,
it
that
and
was
see where it goes.
charging a little
Didn't hit
bit
a
deep,
single
but it's
bullet.
okay. See? Why
So,
was
like,
the
is
why
that-
did this
Is that like punishing someone or is that flanking? Because I
that's
don't know.
punishing someone.
Okay.
This Hanzo here is completely on his own.
Just gonna yeet and nade.
While you're shooting him, who is helping him? No one.
Didn't hit
There's
a single
absolutely
person.
no one that could help him. Where's the enemy team right now?
On cart.
The enemy team is all chilling somewhere down there in that cave.
Mhm.
Right, they're not up there because that's where you came from. So they're all down there while the Hanzo was still on high ground. He was probably coming back from spawn or something. To be honest, I don't know. So that's a punish because he was extremely split. If you go for an enemy that is extremely split, that's completely fine. Same thing with this Widowmaker. Okay, why was this dive on the Widowmaker good?
Because she's like miles from the enemy team and
Because she's miles from the enemy team and the soldier is already going for her. So you're helping a teammate and the Widowmaker is split. Okay, that's what it means to punish mistakes. Same thing with this Doomfist. When you're seeing this Doomfist, this is a guy you want to fight. Because he's, again, split from his team, and there's a soldier next to you.
then he's getting
Dude, you're all the way back there.
He's out.
Probably still could have killed him. You have a soldier shooting with you.
Dude, you're all the way
Like,
back
there's
there.
a
What the
lot of
fuck
shit you
back?
can do when you have a soldier next to you. Like, same thing with the diva here. The two of you can take on a diva.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Pretty old
back?
charge. Oh, look, do you see how you go away and you just let him do his one-on-one on his own? She could already be dead. And this healing field could be healing you right now if you would just help him. Okay, it's a team game. Both of these targets could be dead. But instead you're like, oh shit, I'm a pussy, I'm not confident because that weird play on the Widowmaker at the start of the round didn't work. I'm just gonna play defensive. Hey soldier, by the way, you're playing over aggressive. Like, no. If there's a numbers advantage and the enemy team is just objectively split, then you can go for it.
Okay.
Both of these characters should be dead for the
How is that
reasons that
anyway?
I mentioned earlier. Now, if the enemy team is standing all together and you don't have anyone helping you, of course you shouldn't dive in.
You were. Give me a hard time.
Okay, good. If you would have dived with Mercy there.
I'm gonna eat this animal.
Okay, so that was just the Doomfist being stupid, but you didn't really take any risks, so that's just him feeding.
Discord. Behind you. Get her ass.
Don't die to Diva Bomb.
I probably do something stupid.
I just nanoed our Zen. Dude, I didn't want you to.
Again, okay. Is this Mercy like really that killable? Is she like split from her team or anything? She literally has a
Really
diva right next to
not-
her.
Not killable, no.
Yeah, she's like a really, really bad target to go for. And you just keep going, and you have no one helping you.
Yeah.
Right? And you already have blades, so all of this damage you're dealing is not really leading to anything.
No, you trans. Stick.
Okay, that blade is fine.
The diva on me, dude. So rude.
Yeah, that blade was completely fine. I wouldn't worry about that.
And then that's me.
Oops. Should have played better.
I should
your
have
team
backed
can
up
still-
when I saw him coming in.
Nah, your team is winning. That was completely fine. I don't think you needed to change anything there. That decision making was okay. That was completely fine. You saw that your Zenyatta was going in, so you already knew that you had the follow up, so you just went for the blade
I
and you
actually
killed the
think I'm
Mercy.
losing my mind. Like I get random headaches.
Just shoot the diva. What are you scared of?
I thought there
Yeah.
was a lot more people up there.
I get random headaches.
Oh no, there was literally only a diva,
Doom's dead.
and now there's no one.
Probably lose this.
I get random headaches. I laugh.
Yes, so this is not something you want to do.
Okay.
Okay, so for one, none of your teammates are here to help you. This Genji is in literally no one else's line of sight. And earlier, when you were diving the Hanzo, that was fine. Why was that fine, but this isn't? What's the difference?
Because Hanzo isn't meant for like close quarters fighting, but this is a mirror
Exactly.
match.
Yeah. So right here, you have like a 50-50 chance of winning. That's not like on defense. Do you ever want to take a 50-50 chance?
No.
No, never. You do
Actually
not.
dead stuff.
So the fact that you're still alive is kind of a miracle. Go back. Why do you keep looking? Why did you look back? Why didn't you just walk towards your team? Okay, yeah, that was literally just feeling. You should have just kept walking.
That's normally how it goes.
Okay, but yes, do you start to kind of understand the decision-making
Can't
process?
kill me if I can't see
Yeah.
him.
Okay, good. This diva's super out of position and feeding ridiculously hard. Oh my god, please, come on! Okay, that's just unfortunate. That wasn't intentional, so it's fine.
Why do you have to feed?
I thought
Yeah,
I
they got the
timed it right, and I didn't.
thought.
Yeah.
Okay, he's using the blade. Whatever, let him.
Dude, they're not using location.
Don't
How am I
die
supposed to know
for
where he
this. Why are you like, he's blading and you're like still going super aggressive?
is? Oh, wait.
Okay, that's good. You're scouting. Your soldier has high ground. Alright,
Yeah,
so this is
thanks,
also
buddy.
important information to have. Your soldier is taking high ground. A little bit forward.
Oh, wait.
You need to think about what kind of sightlines he has, because now you know that as long as you fight someone in like any of these areas here, you're gonna get support from him. Right? So, as an example, if there's a Mercy down here in this corner, you shouldn't dive her because you're not going to have any support. But if, there's a, I don't know, Hanzo or something up here, that you can dive because you're going to get the support from your soldier. Okay?
Okay.
So being aware of your teammate's sidelines is very, very important.
Yeah,
There's
thanks,
a
buddy.
Doomfist.
Well, you're on top of shuttle. Okay, I just got landed the nuttiest sleep of my life, and the fucking Roadhog woke him up.
Who can help you with this, Ana?
No one.
I'm dead.
No one. So again, you rely pretty much only on your own skill in order to pull that off. And I don't know what the enemy Lucio did, but he did not help his Ana. Like, he should have booped you. Like, he's not even looking at you, right? So the only reason you got that kill was because for some stupid reason this Lucio doesn't care about his support.
I'm actually straight up dead.
He could have used amped up or booped you or anything. That's a very
Right, Andy?
aggressive play. Did you think you needed to use 2 ultimates in that fight?
No.
Probably not, yeah. So that's pretty bad for your ult economy. You really could have at least saved Nano.
I only do things with Blade.
But even then, like, even only using Blade would have probably been a little much.
You know,
The shuttle control is fine. Falcon is fine.
but also not a good reason.
Okay, good.
Well, you just died.
See, so that dash was fine because your Roadhog was going for it.
Oh,
You're a little bit confused.
Alright.
Positioning-wise. You need to deflect.
The Doomfist is gonna come after me. You
Oh.
fucker. Get away from me. Get away from me.
Yes, it was very risky, especially with 60 HP. Kind of paid off, but it was risky.
How much
Oh,
should
dude.
I rely on?
Winston, peek me. Peek me. Peek me.
Well, I mean, you're a Genji. It's your job to punish people who mess up. Not just as Genji, that's literally the point of the game.
Alright, get Blade. I have
Yeah,
nano.
but
The
like,
point of the
in
game
that
is to not...
scenario,
Mhm.
when is it okay and when is it
Do
not?
you have full healing?
Play
Actually,
like that. Like expecting them to shoot into you because
Genji doesn't get medals, okay? He might
Oh,
get
you
medals,
should never
but,
do
like,
that.
Aside from that,
You should never expect the enemies to make a mistake. It's kind of like a staring contest, pretty much. You just need to hold on until the enemy team blinks first, and then you punish them. But you shouldn't just punish them because you expect them to blink in 2 seconds. Like, that's not a very good strategy.
nothing.
okay.
Doesn't do
So yes,
anything.
you wait until they make a mistake, then you
ready.
punish it, not the other way around. Okay. It's fine.
Dude, you did stuff with.
You were dashing a little bit high. You probably should have used your first dash. Because after you use your first dash, look where you are.
Get ready. Whenever they put the-
Just floating.
Yeah, like this is very far away from your target. Ideally, after your first dash, you want to be like in decent range to where you can hit them with your dash. But pretty much the only reason you got to them was because the Roadhog hooked you. Like, they could have just walked away from you because you were so far away if it weren't for him
Dude, you did
hooking
stuff
you into his team.
I just got Doomfist punched into a Diva bomb. We can. We will win this. If we don't, I'm actually gonna throw my head through the monitor.
I believe winnable.
You would think so, wouldn't you?
I mean, no, you guys have like no ultimates. The only way you can win this is if you play super passive until your teammates get ultimates, but I think that's not happening.
Oh, 100%. I'm completely out of LOS of the point. There's a Lucio on me. The Lucio's
Okay.
dead.
I just do nothing because I need help.
I don't have nano. We might.
And
lose
if you
this.
play in your teammates LOS, you're actually going to get healing. But you were walking away from your team, and the farther you go from your team, the less healing you're
Throwing
gonna
my
get.
head through the monitor.
Okay, do you have any questions?
No, that was comprehensive and very helpful.
Okay, well, you know the drill. If you have any questions, just message me on Discord. Okay?
Yeah. Do you want me to
Okay.
be sending you notes and stuff, or no?
You can always send me anything you want, and I'll go over it.
All right.
Okay, have a good one, man. See ya.
Thank you. See you.